Hello, and welcome to the Big Apple School podcast, the weekly English show where we speak about everything under the sun. The major goal of this show is to help you improve your English and, of course, learn something new. My name's Katya, I'm your host, and today with me,
Barbara
and
Alёna.
Guys, we're doing our best to be as helpful as possible, and we would like to get some feedback about it. So subscribe to our pages in Apple, Yandex, Google, VK, or any other platform where you listen to our podcast, and let us know what you think about our show. Rate and review our podcast, give us stars, leave some comments, ask questions, and feel free to send your ideas about next episodes. It won't take much time or effort, right? But it will help us a lot to become, well, even better. Well, and today, Barbară, Alёna, and I are about to discuss eco-friendliness. So, what does that mean? What is eco-friendliness to those who have no idea about it? How would we define it? And most importantly, are we eco-friendly?
Well, eco-friendliness is not harming our environment. And obviously, we're living all together on this planet, and we need to practice eco-friendliness.
Yeah, we only have one planet, so
That's
there's
our
no
home.
Exactly. So, and are you guys eco-friendly?
I'm trying to be, but I'm not sure that I can just.
Well, you're trying to be. So, what do you do?
Well, I try to recycle basically paper because that's really easy here. But also, I try to reuse as much items, as many items as possible, right? And also, I try to buy stuff which is biodegradable. So that's basically it.
Well, I'm pretty sure, actually, when people say they don't do much, I'm pretty sure they actually do much more, because there are little steps that people do not even, think about when we talk about eco-friendliness. But let me ask you questions. So do you, let's say, turn off water while you're brushing your teeth?
Yeah, absolutely.
See, that's eco-friendly.
Yeah.
Do you, what else? Do you switch off the light when you're not in the room?
Yeah.
Well, that's still, eco-friendliness. So, Barbara, what about you? What do you do?
Oh, we were brought up being eco-friendly. So a little American history. When I was a schoolgirl, there was a big campaign called Keep America Beautiful. And actually it was an organization founded in 1953, composed of array of businesses that recognized that we had to take care of our community. So they would send out PSAs. These are public service announcements across the airwaves, meaning radio and TV, because that's what we had. And so essentially these were commercials saying, keep America beautiful. The slogan was, don't be a litter bug. And so I was brought up with this. And then the great thing that spurred our environmental movement in the U.S. was this picture of the Earth. Are you familiar with that picture? You can Google 1972. It's called the Blue Marble. And it was so stunning for us because we saw ourselves as a mirror. This is our home. This is our world. This is our planet. We've got to take care of it. And this was 1972 when a lot was going on. We had the women's movement and we had the civil rights movement. We had a raging war in Vietnam. And here, take care of your planet. So important.
That was good timing, I think. This is interesting. The difference in upbringing in the US and Russia, because in here, children, well, not even children, adults know almost nothing about being eco-friendly and how important that is to be eco-friendly. So, and that's fantastic that in the US, even kids are brought up this way.
Well, I want to ask a question then. During wars, they recycle metal for weapons. So certainly in Russia, you were told to keep those cans recycled.
But that was kind of necessity,
Yes.
which we don't have at the moment. Well, I guess the majority of people believe we don't. So that's why we have what we have.
Yeah, in my classes last year, I was very interested in knowing about recycling in Novosibirsk. And I asked around, and many are very interested in it, but they say, well, we don't know how to do it. It's not convenient.
Yeah, which is why the major goal right now in our city is to raise awareness. Because I talk a lot about it with my friends, with people on Instagram. And what I see is exactly what you said. A lot of people say, we are interested. We would like to do something, but we don't know how. Where to start, where to get information. There's so much information. People are just lost.
Yeah, there's two things. The attitude of the people, but then there has to be a system that is set up. When I first came to Novosibirsk, I was watching the news and I recognized that this is our mayor and he was touting this big recycling center, this new. I thought, wow, how exciting. But I saw no deposit places, no drop-off places. So this was what I was asking the adults. Do you recycle? Do you want to? Yes, we want to, but it's not convenient. And even I asked the kids, oh, our parents want to, but who cares?
Yeah.
It's a system.
I have a question to you, Barbara. Have your habits, eco-friendly habits, changed since you came here?
Oh, yes, it's gone down the drain. I cannot do what I was used to doing. Yes, turning off the water and the lights, I definitely do that. But I was so disturbed first coming, just this pile up of plastic, the food wrapping. So the only thing that I can do, because I don't understand where anything is that I do reuse the produce bags. I will bring my produce bags to the store and reuse them. And of course, I have a canvas bag. That's the best I can do. What else can I do? There's no drop-off place.
We're going to talk about it after the podcast. I'll show you the map where you can see where those containers are. So because not many people know about it, just because if you don't have it right next to your house, you wouldn't think that they exist anywhere in the city.
Well, in the United States, we'll have actual grocery bags, recycling drop-offs in the grocery store. It's so convenient.
Can you tell us, I'm sorry that I'm asking all the questions to Barbara, but that's just interesting, and I think to our listeners as well. What is it like in the US? What facilities do you have there? How is it made for people to be,
Well, this is depleted as well, and I'll tell you why. There was a time where it was strict rules where we had to separate our brown glass from our green glass, from our clear glass. We had to separate aluminum cans from tin cans, washed, separated. Okay, so the reason was that we were sending all of our clean recycling to China. Are you aware that China was recycling half of the world's recyclable waste? And then for some reason, there was a change. And there was like, okay, we're just going to streamline it. Just put all your stuff into one. And this led to contamination. People were eating and then just sticking stuff in. And China said no more. And it was in 2018 that China put a ban on. And no more. We're not taking your garbage anymore.
Yeah. Wow. Even separating like different types of glass.
Yes. So now that led to recycling centers being closed and things not being taken. And it led to the UK incinerating their stuff. And you've ever smelled burning plastic? It is so poisonous.
It is.
And then Australia has this big stockpile of plastic and all their stuff. They don't know what to do with it because China stopped. They said no more.
Does that mean that there's no reason for recycling anymore?
Well, we're not set up to process it as China was. And so there's just a little hope. There was some talk of China coming into a couple of states in the U.S. and setting up some kind of processing thing. So China seems to be the expert, and they said no more.
Wow, and the whole country is now at a loss.
The whole world.
The whole world? Wow. Okay. Well, we have mentioned recycling. Alёna, can you tell our listeners more about what we can recycle and what we cannot? Because I think this is one of the problems that people have.
Yeah, absolutely. So first of all, of course, that's just obvious that some items just cannot be recycled.
Like what?
Like for example, styrofoam. Do you know what it is? Yeah, just some type, just for for our listeners who don't know, this is some type of material that takeaway containers, takeaway food containers are made from. Well, so when you order some food in Asian restaurants, for example, so what they do, they usually deliver everything in those containers. So that is non-recyclable. So also one of the materials is bubble wrap. It's not recyclable too. Well, and as far as I remember, I'm not quite sure, but I think takeaway coffee cups, they are non-recyclable as well. So of course they're made from paper, but which is recyclable. But the problem is they have like thin layer of plastic inside, which makes them non-recyclable too.
Yeah, I think this is the biggest misconception, that people think, oh, I have my, takeaway coffee cup. It's made of paper. I can recycle it. No, you cannot, because it's it has a compound of paper, plastic, and different things.
Yeah, there was a video that I showed a lot of my students last year. It was the life of the plastic bottle.
Oh,
and
it's from TED Ed, I think.
Yeah.
Yes, I love this video.
It's really short, but it's very informative and very right to the point. And it talks about how plastic is made. It's made of these millions of little pellets bonded together. So it's very durable. And then in order to make something, you melt it down and form it. But once it's formed and it goes on its journey, it breaks down, and these little pellets, this is what the animals eat, or the sea creatures eat. And just like you said, these things are not recyclable.
If we want to add to the list of non-recyclable items, I would add those packs that juice is sold in. Again, because this is a compound mix. Those sachets, which coffee is sold in.
The bags.
Yeah, it's like the bag. It's kind of plastic and aluminum. So let's say if you have noticed the packets that, let's say mayo or ketchup is sold in, the one that you can squeeze. The same with toothpaste. Those are non-recyclable too. Exactly. But what is recyclable then?
Paper. Of course. Yeah, some types of plastic, not all of them, of course.
Yeah, you mentioned the plastic. The reason why that long, stringy produce bag of plastic cannot be recycled, because it gums up the machines. It's not just the breakdown, but it's long.
It is. Although I know that at some eco events in Novosibirsk now, you can actually, you can take the plastic bags there, and then they can be recycled to some point. Well, maybe not recycled, but downcycled, but we'll get to that. Okay, and why is it, so plastic, paper, glass. We forgot to mention glass. Glass is recyclable, and this is the best material, as they say, because it can be recycled an infinite amount of times. And metal. But why is it important to recycle? Because, I have had too many a fight with my parents when I was sorting out the trash, and they were telling me, you're just being, ridiculous and crazy. And what can one bottle or one coffee cup do? Like, that's not a big deal, especially with the straws too. I'm like, I have a metal straw. They're like, what can one straw do? So
you need to show them the satellite visions of those 5 plastic islands. You've heard of these things in our oceans that are caught up in this current of water, this vortex, and this island of plastic, fishing lines, wood, garbage attracts all of this.
Okay, I am going to act as a person who does not believe in the danger of plastic, just so we can, let's say, act how to answer and how to make people understand. Okay, so what about those islands? They're so far away. It does not affect me. How can we reply to that?
Wow, everything, like every single item, I don't know, it just matters because everything, like they are all, all items on the planet are interconnected somehow. So just, I know, it's kind of...
Yeah, that speaks to the attitude. The attitude has to change. You have to care. Doesn't that bother you that there are plastic islands, 5 of them, growing in the ocean?
I have to say that I have met a lot of people who do not.
Okay, so these pictures of animals, marine animals, sea creatures, seabirds getting caught up in these fishing lines, suffocating, dying. And I'll go back to that video that you're acquainted with. I'll give you that link. So we should put that link actually there so people can see. But it traces the life of a water bottle. And the thing is, there are 2 ways of it of affecting us. One is when you throw it away and it ends up in a garbage dump. The plastic is compressed with all the junk pressing it. And then the rainwater comes and it makes this poisonous stew that gets into the groundwater. Now, some people are not aware that we have groundwater. We have water underneath the surface of our earth that is connected to the waterways, to the ocean. And this poisons the sea, the sea animals. And that's got to bother you. That's why.
Yeah. And we actually know that, that's not not a surprise that every person nowadays consumes some amount of plastic every year. It's like, and when you see it, you're just like, wow.
I think this is how we can try to change the attitude to people, because when something is happening far, far away, people do not care about it. But once you show them and prove to them that, okay, look, some fish, well, the plastic is broken down into tiny pieces. Fish eats it. So let's say marine animals eat it. So, and then you consume the seafood, you consume the fish. You have plastic in you now.
Yes, this is the food chain. And so it does affect. And what you're talking about, how we consume the plastic and what you're saying, it affects us now. I read something like a credit card worth of plastic we eat every week or something.
What?
It's crazy. We eat so much plastic. And these plastic bottles break down. So every time you use or reuse a plastic bottle, you're ingesting more plastic.
So every time you buy something in a supermarket, so whether it is like fish or some fruit, so you can be absolutely sure you consume plastic.
It's one thing, to know that you might be consuming microplastic, but giving a certain amount, like a credit card worth of plastic, oh God. Yeah, so listeners, that is why you have to.
Yeah. I must tell you that it's quite hard. Yeah, we know to recycle here in Russia, but one thing we can definitely do is we can reduce. Yeah, that's what you can do. I just have an example. Actually, I didn't have breakfast in the morning. So that's why on my way here, I just dropped at my local supermarket. Not actually a supermarket, kind of little shop. So to buy, I don't know the word for that. That just tiny piece of curds, glazed one, right?
Oh yeah, it's like
I'm not sure.
Okay,
don't know how to describe it. I'm not sure. We
when I was in a supermarket in the US, those in a Russian store,
what do you call them?
Little cheesecake glazed cheesecake mass. Yeah, Barbara looks very puzzled. We'll show you a picture.
Well, anyway, it's tiny, so I can like this size. I just bought it, and the shop assistant, she gave it to me in a plastic bag. In a plastic bag, this one.
Yeah, this is ridiculous.
Yeah,
when you get
and
like
I asked why do I need it? I was so amazed. What for?
Exactly. Well, I'm happy to see that many people, they now are okay. Well, at the beginning of my eco-friendly journey, I was telling people like, no, thank you, I don't need a plastic bag. To which, do you know what I heard in reply? Oh, don't worry, it's free. I'm like, I'm not worrying about it being, free or not free. I just don't want to create more trash. But now, and at the beginning at those tiny fruit shops that are not like supermarkets, but they're kind of like stands, fruit stands. At the beginning there, they were telling me the same thing. Oh, it's free. And I explained it to them that I just don't want to create more trash. So, and I'm carrying not only those, shoppers and whatnot, but I also have tiny bags made of nets, especially for fruit. And I show them, these bags. And I'm like, I prefer to use these just because I don't want to take a lot of plastic bags and it's just easier.
Is there a joke about that? Isn't it the Avkost or something that the Soviets used? Those little net bags? And there's some kind of joke about what they would use. And the disadvantage is that people know what you bought, like your milk or your...
Yeah. Well, I use smaller ones. So the net is different. So you can put rice in it, for example. So it's a different type of net. Mm-hmm. So, and it's... you buy it once and then you can use it for years and years and years, technically.
Oh, I'm so glad we're having this conversation because I felt so alone, just downgrading myself with all of this. But now I have some hope.
Oh, yeah. And also talking about those plastic straws.
Oh, no.
So as you probably know, I'm a coffee lover, so I often visit coffee shops, and every time I come, I'm given like that straw, right? So, and I know that those straws, they harm tortoises, in the ocean. And this summer, I bought a set of metal straws, right? So I just I have them with me, like in my bag.
Did they come with a little, brush for them?
Yep.
Oh.
Yep.
So yeah, you can even have that.
It's cheap. I mean, everybody can do that. It's really cheap, and it just.
And you can use that for like years. Yeah, I remember a lot of campaigns like Save the Turtles. But then again, well, okay, so there are pros and cons to that campaign. Because, of course, plastic straws are evil. You should avoid them whenever you can. So I don't know if you know, but a lot of companies like Starbucks and whatnot, they switch to paper. But a lot of people say like, oh, that's great, they switched to paper straws. But the thing is that plastic straws are still needed because there are people who, due to health reasons, cannot use paper straws. They get all mushy. So, and they cannot physically use them. So, and when they say that I need a plastic straw, and they're told, oh no, don't you care about the turtles? I'm like, look, this is ableism. Like you... do not think about those who cannot use the paper straws due to physical reasons.
I know that some years ago, Canada was really concerned with that ecological problem. So they started, I guess at least they tried to ban those plastic straws, but there were some protests to that because, some people with special needs definitely need them. They still need them.
Yeah. So, at least if the majority of people don't use them, that's great. Alёna, you mentioned when you were saying what you do and do not do, you mentioned reducing. And then brings up, the rule of 3 R's. Do you know about it?
Yeah, of course.
Can you tell more about it?
The rule?
Yeah. So what are the 3 R's?
Reduce, recycle.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, so this is like 3 whales on which the world of eco-friendliness stand. The reduce, reuse, recycle. So, and now what about 3 terms? Because people who start getting into eco-friendliness, they get often confused about all this because of the huge amount of information. And there are 3 terms, which are recycling, which we know, but there is also upcycling and downcycling. So what are they?
Well, so upcycling and downcycling are both types of recycling, first of all, right? So do you know the difference, Barbara?
No? Well, I actually had to Google the difference.
Yeah. Well, actually, when we transform some a material or an item into something of equal or greater value. It is like upcycling, right?
It is upcycling.
Yeah. But vice versa, if, just some material or some product is converted into something of lesser value. So it is downcycled, right? I mean, I'm talking about discarded materials.
Yeah. So, if you want some examples, so let's say upcycling, basically a lot of DIY comes from that. So, for example, you have a watch that stopped working, you turn it into fancy earrings, ta-da, upcycling. Or, what have I seen just this morning on Pinterest? This is a great, app for different DIY ideas. So, how to turn an old leather into a bookshelf, something like that. So you do not technically do anything with the leather, but you use it for something of the same value, so upcycling. And downcycling, for example, if not we, but certain facilities recycle plastic bottles, not all of them are made of the same type of plastic. So sometimes the plastic that you get in the end is of lower quality. So, and then it is used not to make bottles, but to make, let's say, speed bumps. So, and this would be downcycling. Yeah.
So when I was Googling this, what came to mind when you're talking about a broken watch being turned into some jewelry, it occurred to me that, of course, this is like an artists love doing this. There's this artist that very famous in Georgia. He was a folk artist, and he really did exactly what you're saying. He would make his art using bicycle parts, machinery, old plastic toys. He even made this art with his son's tonsils. His son's tonsils were in a jar, and he made that into some kind of art thing.
I don't know, Barbara, if you have seen these things, but in Russia, especially in some kind of small town, some people make different, figures like a swan out of used tires. So now we can say that this is not just, a tasteless piece of crap, but this is upcycling.
I have them in my hometown, so they are ugly. Really?
They are. But now we can say that this is eco-friendly.
Yes. And I think this happens in schools. Don't teachers say, oh, kids, bring something from home and we're going to make some art. And they have fun doing things like this.
Actually, I remember a couple of years ago in Boston in the Institute of Contemporary Art, there was a whole exhibition of art made of different used materials. So there was some upcycling art exhibition. So, and I was amazed at what you can do with things that are used. So it was just, wow. Well, but then again, you have to have some talent for this.
So have either one of you ever bought clothes that have been downcycled?
Never.
I have seen a pair of sneakers, but the thing is that you have to pay to be eco-friendly because they cost around $80, I think, a pair. So I was not ready to pay that, I'm afraid. Yeah. Which brings actually a question. So one of the greatest pollutant that people do not think about is fast fashion. So they think that to be eco-friendly, it's enough to just recycle. But then when you start telling them that, do you know how much different fast fashion companies pollute the environment? They get really shocked because they think that fast fashion is something we do not have here. But then you tell them, oh, this is companies you know and use like Zara, H&M and whatnot. They're like, oh, wait, what?
So you're speaking of fast fashion, meaning that manufacturers are reeling out clothes quickly and cheaply, and they don't last long.
They do not. So they say that this is now the third biggest pollutant in the world just because they use, to dye the clothes, they use very cheap paint and dye. Then the materials themselves, then the cheap labor and whatnot. Then they do not care about, how to deal with the waste.
Dispose of it. So this is going to be dumped in the rivers.
So, which is why now a lot of activists, they say that if you want to be even more eco-friendly, try to buy clothes at some, let's say, secondhand stores or stores that use good materials, not cheap labor. But then again,
You can also recycle. Actually, twice in my life, I've recycled my clothes. Yeah, that's easy to do. I mean, you can just take it to the nearest, not to the nearest supermarket. I mean, here in Russia, but we do have lots of places here in Novosibirsk Square you can take your clothes to. For example, I know we have one in Royal Park shopping center.
do you mean those little boxes on the ground floor?
Yeah.
So you're not speaking about secondhand clothes. You're speaking about recycling.
Recycling, right? Because I had some items I never used, but the quality wasn't good. So I decided to take them to the.
It's a very they have a very limited, let's say, scope of things that they can take. So the thing is that in those boxes, you can both take your clothes that you want to be donated, you want to be sold at secondhand stores, charity shops, actually, not really secondhand, but more of charity, still secondhand. And they still take clothes for recycling, but they have to be only cotton. So they cannot recycle other materials, I'm afraid. So, but yeah, if you do that, they need to be washed and all the buttons and zips and whatnot have to be cut. But yeah, so it's still something.
Yeah. What about downgrading your wardrobe? Like you buy new clothes to go to work in, and then it's getting old, so you just wear them at home, and then you start sleeping in them. Do you do that?
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
oh
sure.
yeah. And then when it starts, when it gets to the point they cannot wear them at home, even I use them for cleaning.
Yes.
See, yeah.
Yes.
Oh, that's fantastic. That's fantastic. Now, what about? So we have talked about this recycling, buying secondhand things and whatnot, donating. But a lot of people think that this is no more than just a trend. So, and I don't know if you've met these people, but I certainly have. When I say, oh, I try to recycle, let's say, save this so I can take it to the nearest recycling point and whatnot. And they say, this is just a trend that's going to pass.
It is a trend. It is a trend, but that's some positive trend. Yeah. So,
Yeah,
I mean, it's trendy, and I'm glad it's trendy.
I agree with you, because when I was talking about my little history in the 70s of this environmental movement starting, then what came after that was the me generation. I'm the center of the universe. I don't care about recycling. And then what came after that was the technological era, where what do you do with your old laptops and your old monitors and your old, components? Nothing. You just put it in and allow it to poison the earth. So it was now this whole thing is new. This is a new trend.
Actually, this was this was pain for me, because I have an old laptop, an old phone that I do not use, but they just sit there in one of the drawers or in a storage unit right now, just because I'm looking for the facility where I can take it.
Definitely.
But what I'm happy about, that in the US, there are special, machines that look like ATMs. So imagine you have an ATM. So you come to it, you scan your ID, you put a phone inside, you write down the name of the phone, when you bought it, then it kind of analyzes it and it gives you cash. So this way you recycle your phone and you get cash. It's not much. So for example, you can recycle a phone for, let's say, $15, but that's better than nothing.
Yes.
So I like that. I'm really looking forward to having
those things are really important. Before I moved to Novosibirsk, I started cleaning out my house for about 2 years prior, because I knew at some point I was going to be moving. Didn't know where. But it took that long to find places that you can bring your TV to, bring your components to. And I paid $25 to get my TV recycled. So it does... And I had to go to a special store to get my light bulbs recycled. So I had to go to different places. And I did try that kiosk that you're talking about, but for some reason it didn't accept my phone. I didn't have the information. I don't know. I couldn't make it work. But I was envious of people standing in line and using that and getting a little bit of cash out of there.
Yeah. And the very fact that you do not throw it away, but it gets recycled, so it keeps serving the world.
Yeah, you have to call around. Do you take this? We take this, but not this. Okay.
Yeah.
And you have to make a list. And okay. So it was a big run around, but worth it.
Well, that's what I'm doing on a daily basis, because let's say I have a container right next to my building, which accepts some types of plastic and metal, aluminum, but that's it. So which means if I want to recycle glass, I need to take it to another place, which is a 20-minute walk away from my building, then paper. For some reason, the container that I have next to my building does not accept paper, which means I need to find something else. And then I also have those plastic lids and plastic cups and whatnot. I need to take them to a separate place. Then there are batteries, light bulbs, clothes. So it's just, stored in my house on some of the shelves. So, and then once a month or even...
In my hometown, we have a coffee bar, which gives you a discount if you bring your own cup.
I love this initiative.
Yeah, and that's just great. I always do.
So one of the other reasons why people have looked at me like I'm a lunatic is when I have brought my own Tupperware or a container into a supermarket, and those things you can buy, you just say, can I have a bit of that? Can I have a bit of that? So I was buying fish and I said, can you put it into my container? They just looked at me like,
no.
Why? I'm like, look, well, first, I want to, save the planet and use less plastic. Second, if you need some other reason, and number one is not enough, yours will smell. Mine is airtight. So, but some of the people are reluctant to do that. But I don't know if you know, but I can use this, opportunity to tell about that to other people. So you can now sign a petition about your own containers, because the department that is responsible for the like sanitary restrictions, sanitary rules, they want to ban the opportunity of buying stuff into your own containers, including coffee. And people are mad about it because that will lead to an extraordinary amount of plastic. So when the whole world goes zero waste, Russia goes the other way.
What about when this pandemic hit and people have this PPE, which of course is really important, but this personal protective equipment, and now we all wear masks, and all these patients that the stuff will just pile up. They're disposable. I mean, you throw them away. And the first thing I thought was, oh no, this is going to add to our plastic islands. And then sure enough, I read an article about how it was adding.
It is, yeah. One thing though is, even though it is disposable and you have to throw it away, make sure to cut the strings.
Yes.
Because the birds can get caught in it.
And I'm wondering about dental floss, because I started cutting my dental floss. I'm thinking, is this going to be better for the turtles and for the animals? Because it's a long piece of, what do you think? Do you think cutting the dental floss before throwing it out?
I mean, it sounds reasonable.
I think so.
Yeah, some people might be listening to us and thinking, oh God, they're doing way too much.
No, we're not doing too much. We're not crazy. We really care. And I think everyone cares, but they just don't know what to do.
So speaking of that being a trend, and even though I agree that it is certainly a good trend, if that makes more people interested, even better. But do you think that some companies actually use it to make more money and they don't care about it?
Definitely. The marketing of go green, we're green, buy us. Yeah, right. Look at all the things we do.
I have recently found out about the term greenwashing, I think it is. It's when company...
brainwashing.
Kind of. So when a company, they state that they are eco-friendly. You can take clothes to our place and we are going to recycle it. But in the end, it just ends up on a land pile. So this is called greenwashing because they only seem to be eco-friendly, but in the reality, they are not. So, yeah.
I think that is going on. And we play into it because we might be doing a lot of actions and things to recycle, just like taking it to these places, and then they really don't.
Mm-hmm.
And that turns off people. They say, because there have been articles or reports of this happening. I'm not going to recycle. It's too much trouble, and it's not recycled anyway.
That's what people have told me, like, oh, so you're taking that plastic into a special container, but then it ends up in one car, in one truck anyway.
Why do it?
So when I saw the truck, a special green truck, only picking up that trash from that container, I took a video of it and I posted it saying, so to those who did not believe there is a special truck that didn't even touch, the trash cans nearby. So, and I always make sure to tag the company. So see, they're doing things. So make sure to ask them any questions if you have.
But I'd like to go back a little bit.
Sure.
I mean, you were talking about containers. I mean, containers we bring with us to local supermarket, and other place. Well, I mean, we are not allowed to use them sometimes because, actually, the problem is that. If you get sick, for example, after using your own container, wow, nobody knows what kind of container you brought and what was there before you brought it to the supermarket. So if you get sick after that, so then they might theoretically have problems. So that's why you might sue and all that stuff.
Well, yeah, this is one of the parts of it, one of the sides of it, because if you get sick, technically you cannot sue them. You cannot have any complaints about the supermarket because you cannot prove that it was because of their food and not because of your container. So it has some downsides and whatnot. But
they are just kind of protecting themselves.
Nowadays, I've heard that some of the coffee shops do not, let's say, pour coffee into your own cup just because it's the time of the pandemic. So they do not even touch it. I know one coffee shop in here, so they do so. I mean, they do pour coffee into your own cup, but they ask you, can you please put it right here? So, and they do not even touch it. So they just, staying on the safe side. Yeah. All right. And what about one more thing that a lot of eco activists talk about, which is carbon footprint. So have you heard about carbon footprint? And what's that?
Yeah, sure. Barbara?
Well, this is what we do. I always think of the emissions with cars, what we do to impact, to add on to our environmental damage that we're doing.
And some people claim that it's worth donating to some companies to compensate for the carbon footprint that you make. For example, and there is a special calculator on the internet. So if you take a flight, for example, from Novosibirsk to Moscow, you can calculate the amount of CO2 emissions that well, not you directly, but you made. And then you can donate a certain amount to companies. They try to cover this carbon footprint for you. So eco-friendly companies, different activists and whatnot. And I think this is called carbon offsetting. So what do you think about that? Is it worth doing? Would you ever do that?
I don't trust companies. I'm always thinking they're trying to make that profit and they're hiding behind this. So I would have to know that it was backed by some activists or something.
Alёna, what do you think?
Can I do that in Russia?
Oh, yeah. Definitely.
Well, that is a good idea. I would do that, but I mean, it's kind of huge problem for the majority of people here in Russia. You know why? So that's why for Europe, probably, sure, good idea.
I have some mixed feelings about this just because even if I would like to do that, just like you, Barbara, I don't trust companies. So I think I would have to do a research, at the beginning. So just to see that, is this company trustworthy? Can I really trust them that they will, make use of the money and put them to the right place and to do the right thing? But yeah, I'm on Instagram. I'm following several people who are eco activists. So they post a lot about it. So, and I look at them like, okay, so you know your thing. So you must be sure in this company. But then again, am I ready to pay money for this? I don't know. It's just another side of it. Am I ready to, give a part of my income to this? Not sure.
I think corporations do so much damage toward the environment that they need to take a lot more responsibility.
Exactly. This is what some people actually claim when you say, oh, you need to reduce, you need to recycle, you need to sort your trash. And they say, I'm not the biggest pollutant in this world. Companies do so much more. So why is it me, an individual who has to take, action? I don't need to take action. So,
because you buy a plastic bag every time you shop. So that's why. Yeah.
Well, for some people, that's not big an argument. So, but how can we encourage people to be more conscious about, environment? How can we, I don't know, make them...
Well, just like you say, talking about it and what I tried doing last year with my classes and showing this video and having some kind of discussion with it. What can we do? What can we do? We have this fancy recycling center in Novosibirsk, but what a mystery. How do we get our things recycled?
Right. So what if we think of a list of tips on how to be more eco-friendly in general and in Novosibirsk in particular? So what can we add to the list? So we've mentioned some things like, number 1, turn off the water while you're brushing your teeth or switch off the light. What else?
I've never done that actually, but I'm planning to. So for example, you can use less, not actually less, you can buy shampoo bar, for example, which is much better than just a regular shampoo, shampoo bottle, because you do not need to recycle, you do not produce waste, and it can serve both, as far as I know, as gel shower, shower gel, whatever, shower gel, yeah, also shampoo. And just soap. It's like just a single item for taking care.
That's a great idea.
Skin.
I've actually seen a lot of those, different like bars of soap and whatnot.
Oh.
And you can even buy, let's say, like a deodorant. And usually these things tend to be very natural. So they are, even better for your skin and whatnot. The same thing goes with lip balm. Deodorants, creams, they are very hard, and they come, if they are not if they're not just sold like by bar, they come in little metal containers, and then after using, you take it back to the shop. So they take it back to the producer, so it can be reused.
That's great. So you're talking about a bar that essentially is melting as you're using it, right?
Well, yes.
Because that reminds me of my favorite color crayons, and how much I detest seeing kids using these markers, because with a color crayon, it's made out of wax, and it's just melting away every time it's wearing down every time you color a picture. And these kids with these finite amount of color inside these plastic containers, you can't use them anymore. You just toss them. So
And the thing is that they're non-recyclable.
And then the deodorant that you're talking about, I always used mineral deodorant. It's a mineral, and it melts away. I couldn't find anything here. Maybe it is somewhere.
We need to have a talk after the podcast with a list of places.
I've been so lost.
So you can buy it in Mac.
Really?
Even,
Oh, the deodorant.
Yep. Also, like Farmer Center, you can buy it there. Yep, I've seen one.
Wow, I did not know about this.
Yeah, I mean they're not that rare. Also, one more tip. So I think you should reuse as many glass items as possible. So my mom calls me an old lady because I do. Well, really, like all that. If I buy honey, for example, and it usually goes in that glass jar, so I do recycle every honey jar. So
But
that's a
you
good thing.
recycle it by taking it.
I'm sorry.
to the
reuse it.
Reuse it. I see.
Yeah. Reuse it.
So we also can say when you are shopping for groceries in a supermarket, make sure to use less non-recyclable plastic package and more of recyclable, like you do with honey. So, for example, make sure you don't buy a squeezable pack of mayo, but
yeah, it's better. It's definitely better to buy something which is recyclable or like degradable. Or yeah.
Well, another thing is like cleaning supplies. Sometimes they come with a spray top, and then sometimes they come just with the product, and that's good. You can just put the straw thing
and actually save money on it, because usually the ones with the spray top are more expensive.
Right.
Now, 2 tips to those living in Novosibirsk specifically. So number 1 is check out the map with Arctic city containers, because those are the containers that, accept the plastic, metal. Some of them accept glass, and in some of them you can throw paper. So there is a map where you can see which one is closest to you, so you don't need to actually throw away plastic. But make sure to rinse your plastic, please. So it doesn't have to, it must not have anything like food residue and whatnot. So
so not rinsing, but washing.
Depends on what you had in it. Yeah, rinsing or washing.
By the way, talking about like cleaning supplies and all like those cleaning liquids, well, vinegar is just very good for cleaning. You don't even have to buy like that special gal.
Oh
yeah, I agree.
I heard that from people who are hardcore eco-friendly people.
Yeah.
Because they say you can use vinegar, you can use mustard instead of a, dishwasher detergent and something. So yeah.
Orange peels soaked in water also.
What?
Yeah, I did that. Well, some time ago.
You can use it as a what? As a dishwasher detergent or?
Not that, basically for for cleaning. I mean, shelves,
Oh,
the citrus would cut through. Yeah.
Wow. So wait, so you leave it in water, so the orange peel in water for some time.
Yeah, you just soak them in water like for 2 days probably, and that's it.
And then you can use so you can put it. Oh, I like that.
Yeah,
I
it
like
smells
that.
good too.
I've just realized that we haven't talked about composting things. Yeah, this is one more way to reduce the waste, because I know that plastic is obviously dangerous, but one more thing is that the food waste that we produce and all the peels and whatnot, when they are on a land pile and do not have access to oxygen, so they produce some poisonous gases and whatnot.
I didn't know that.
I forgot the name of the gas, but yeah. All right, and one more tip, which can be useful for those who do not know. We have a store in Novosibirsk, which is called Green Reza, and it is a zero waste store, which means everything in there comes with no package. So you bring your own glass jars, you bring your own plastic containers and whatnot. If you don't have anything, you can buy some containers there and then take them back and get a discount. But basically, you can buy a lot of things there.
What's that?
It's all right. So this is in a neighborhood close to Речной вокзал. So I'll send you the link. Don't worry.
I'm just curious whether like all the items there are I guess they are more expensive than.
They are less expensive.
Less expensive.
They are less expensive. You would expect that, a zero waste store, this is a trend. But since they do not use the packaging. This is because a lot of the biggest component of the price of things that we buy is the packaging. It's expensive to make. You need to transport it. But once you sell things without the packaging, it gets less expensive, sorry. So it gets cheaper. So if you compare prices, it's, you can save
What do they sell? I mean, like food only?
Well, they sell food. So they sell grains like chickpeas and lentils and whatnot. They sell laundry detergent, shower gels, shampoos, like those hot shampoo that you've mentioned. They sell that too. So they sell tea. They sell a lot of food. They sell sweets too, like marshmallows and whatnot. And they all come without a container, so you need to bring your own. But if you don't have any, empty jars and whatnot, you can go there, buy one jar and whatnot in there, and then return it. So, and they also, they sell a lot of things, like granola, muesli, a lot, really a lot. And the thing is that I compared the prices in a supermarket and then in there. So a pack of lentils, I remember, which is half a kilo, was the same price in a supermarket as a kilo in there. So you can get twice as much for the same money.
It's great.
Wow.
I know. I love them. I love them for that. They also accept, used batteries, used light bulbs and whatnot. So, and I love it. I love that there are places like that. So any other tips that we can think of?
Well, I guess loads of them, but well, it would take like 2 hours to list.
We should make, like a list and then just post it somewhere. All right. Well, that has been very helpful, not only entertaining and useful, but so helpful to me personally. And I hope to those who have been listening. Thank you, ladies.
Thank you.
All right. So that was the Big Apple School podcast. And today we discussed eco-friendliness. So we talked about what is eco-friendliness, what we do or do not do. We talked about recycling, upcycling, and downcycling, disposable versus reusable materials, carbon footprint and how to compensate for it if you want to. We talked about eco shops, zero waste, different companies. So is it just a trend or is it actually something, useful? We talked about how to encourage people around us to be more eco-friendly, and we gave some specific tips on how to be eco-friendly in general and in Novosibirsk in particular. Thank you for listening. And remember, if you struggle to understand our conversation, you're always welcome to our website, which is bigappleschool.com/podcast. And you can find all the scripts for all the podcasts in there, so you can read them while listening. Cool, right? So also, if you want to get more content which will help you learn English, you can follow us on social media such as Instagram, VK, YouTube, Telegram, any social media, basically. Just search our name again, Big Apple School, and that's it. So that was Katya, and my guests for today were
Barbara
and
Alona.
And a little thing in the end. If you have listened till the end, please post eco-friendly emoji so we can see how many people actually listen till the end. So stay tuned and we'll see you around.